Listen, we are so excited about our guest today because we have wanted to interview one of these for a long time.
One of these.
Well, we have. Keep listening. Shannon Tebb is an energetic, intuitive, and creative professional dating coach, wingwoman, and boutique matchmaker. Matchmaker, make me a match. Shannon has lived and worked in Toronto for the past 18 years, where she started her dating consulting business in 2010. In addition to matchmaking, she coaches divorcees and works with singles of all ages, helping them achieve 100% date-ready status. And Katrina Turnbull was telling us a little bit about that. We'll discuss it. Throughout her experience helping people find dates and relationships, Shanny found it easy to pinpoint what men fall in love with. And so she became inspired to share this knowledge with other single women. Welcome, Shannon. I could barely get through that. I was just so excited.
Thanks, guys. It's so good to be here. Thank you.
Now, we should say that we did connect with you through Katrina Turnbull, who we had on the show not too long ago, just ahead of her show, Modern Girl's Guide to Divorce, which is now available on Bell On Demand. And she speaks very highly of you. Your episode is actually coming out soon, I think, isn't it?
It's out.
Or is it out?
Yeah.
So now I've been sharing a few clips on my Instagram. So yeah, it's episode 5, and there's a lot of different segments that are really important and, you know, can really help divorcees looking to get back into dating.
Which is a scary, scary world, especially in 2019 and especially, or 2019.
2021.
2021, especially.
Let's go back to 2019.
Yeah, we were all younger, weren't we?
But like, I was thinking, especially because of COVID-19 too, on top of it, right? Yeah. You've got everything kind of going against you right now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, not Shannon. She's in Costa Rica. Jeez. So although I shouldn't have said that at the beginning, because although your business is based in Toronto, you are in Costa Rica right now. And that's the beauty of COVID, is we can work from anywhere.
Yes, we can work remotely. We're still setting up Toronto singles. And yeah, I chose to come here end of December and I haven't left. So it's been, I'm super grateful for being here. And, you know, I'm able to still do my job remotely. So why not?
Have you noticed that there's been any advantages to being able to do matchmaking remotely?
Well, I do miss meeting my clients in person. You know, the one-on-one aspect is really nice, but it allows me just to really multitask, switch up my work environments. Like right now I'm by the pool and, you know, I'm always kind of like moving around and I'm not kind of stuck inside, which is good. So, you know, one of my tips for couples even living together is to switch up your work environment so you're not kind of on top of each other and create a good space. So I'm able to do that here, which I'm very lucky for. Yeah.
I mean, your background, it looks like wallpaper right now.
Yeah, it does. This is not a green screen.
Picturesque.
This is jungle. Yeah, I'm like right in the middle of the jungle.
Yeah. And she's by a pool too.
A haircut.
Please. Yeah. Give us some more negatives. We need to not have people jealous. What else is wrong with you?
Do you think digital matchmaking has been like great for those that are a little bit shy about meeting in person? Because we do live in a weird era where talking on a phone or meeting in person is so much scarier than the typical text or, you know, what.
So yeah, are you referring to video dates, like video dating?
Right, like when you first meet, because that's what a lot of people I hear are doing right now. Like even off of dating apps, they're just meeting over a Zoom quickly to see if they
like a Zoom date. And sometimes those Zoom dates can be very awkward and feel like an interview. So I've actually coached singles around making that virtual date experience amazing and creating a theme around that so that it's not so boring like an interview and you're able to, you know, have like cocktail hour or wine and cheese or do something that's going to make it fun and play some music in the background and like switch up, you know, get up and go to the kitchen so you can kind of see each other's bodies and you're not just sitting like this the entire time like a stiff robot. So there are ways that you can make the video date experience, you know, positive. But again, what I've found from single men is they're not really into the video dates and they kind of wanted to wait until restrictions lifted so they could kind of go for a walking date and get a sense of the female and if there's chemistry there. Because even though you're wearing a mask, you can still smize with the eyes and flirt that way, as opposed, it's really hard to flirt when you're doing a live Zoom with someone. So yeah, it's been difficult. It's been difficult, which is why I think matchmaking has gotten busier during the pandemic, because people aren't really finding quality online and they're looking at other dating resources.
You mentioned a magic word, which is chemistry. And that's part of what I hate about chatting online, is because I realized I'm really somebody that needs that vibe, or the pheromones, if we want to get scientific. How do people navigate that online? Do you find people can really decide that it's a good connection, or do they think it is until you get in person, then you realize, maybe not?
Because you do hear those shows where people have had online relationships for like 3-4 years and they're like about to get married.
Yeah, they've been doing long distance forever. They've never actually met in person. So yeah, so my tips for singles is, if you are doing the virtual dating or in a long distance relationship, you really have to, I suggest videotaping yourself, like with your iPhone, and just get a sense of how you show up on camera. For instance, like you want to, check your tone, your expressions, you want to smile when you talk, you want to make it interesting. And I think through that way, you can definitely connect and feel the person's energy, even if it's through the screen, through their mannerisms, their personality, their tone and their voice. Are they excited about life? Are they just like, oh, here we go, another Zoom date? So you really have to practice how you show up on camera, and don't be afraid to videotape yourself ahead of time to see what that looks like. Like videotape yourself even, with your iPhone, or looking in the mirror and talking about who you are, what are your best attributes, what are you up to. Storytelling, adding a narrative to your commentary is very important as well.
Well, I think we need to define what you do too, because, matchmaking, a part of us feels like, oh, is that something from way back before the dating apps? Other people just think of that $1 million matchmaker lady, whatever her name is. Patty, exactly.
You know who I think of is Mulan, the big fat one in Mulan. Do you remember her? She was awesome. Best character in Mulan was the matchmaker. So that's who I think of. Again, going way back.
Right. So I think everyone kind of was like, matchmaker, what does that mean right now? So if someone was to, inquire, how would you describe what you offer?
So matchmaking is getting more and more popular. Basically, it's an alternative for business professionals, busy professionals that are looking for a relationship. They don't have time to, seep through all of the online dating profiles, do the messaging. It becomes time consuming. It's exhausting. So it's almost like hiring, an expert for matters of the heart. So like when we go to the gym, we may hire a personal trainer to get us really fit. Well, why not think of a dating coach or a matchmaker to get you closer to finding that relationship? All you have to do is review a profile. We meet and screen you over Zoom. We create a bio. We add in your photos. We write a really nice synopsis, making sure you approve everything that's shared. And then from there, we swap profiles with one match at a time. So it's not like this bomb, you have all these options in front of you. It's one at a time. So you give someone a fair opportunity, which is a lot different than online dating.
Well, I'm laughing because you say like one at a time, because I remember, and I did very brief, like 3 months at a time on dating apps. And then I go off for a long time and then do 3 months, mostly to regain confidence. But I remember like trying to save guys' names as like these long, like weird descriptions, like,
blue hats.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it was just, or Tinder or Hinge, according to like dating app. And it was just, it's so much to handle. The one thing I do love that you said too is the screening aspect of thing. And I think dating now can be a little scary, especially for a lot of women. I'm sure men also have reasons to be concerned. So the screening process is probably one of the best features of what you offer.
Yes. Yeah. So the screening and vetting, and, I'm very intuitive. And if something feels off, or if somebody comes to me and they're not maybe 100% date ready, and there's some things that we can tweak, rather than, just saying, I can't work with you, I will say, hey, why don't we start with some dating coaching first and see how that goes? And we'll go from there. Because if somebody's been married for 20 years, they haven't dated, they're divorced, they've been on their own for a year, it's like throwing someone into the lion's den. So if you haven't practiced dating and you haven't really had the experience, and you can't remember what to do or what to talk about or all of that stuff, that's where a dating coach comes in and can help you be strategic in those areas.
That's a big help, because one reason I don't do well on the dating apps, and maybe you too, is because we both have big personalities. We like talking to people. It's not about having a conversation, but on the apps, it's so dry. Like, hey, how big's your dick? I mean, at least in my world.
Yeah.
And it's just, so I feel like using a matchmaker, you'd feel more excited that it's a genuine connection. But my question is, how can you meet a potential client and know who to match them with? Like, do you meet somebody and then get an idea of the type of person that they'd go well with?
Like, is this some special gift?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, what's the science?
I kind of call myself like a love witch, because even if I'm talking to a single, like I'll put like a little love dust on them, where sometimes they leave our meeting and they meet somebody the next day and they're like, Shanny, I was ready to register, but I actually met somebody, and it's crazy. And I'm
you're
like,
damn it.
I'm like, but you know what? I'm happy for them. And if it doesn't work out, they can always come back. But yeah, I think I like to visualize the two singles together. So like we were talking about chemistry, you can match on paper, but you also need to flow together, vibe together. I picture you two walking together, hugging, kissing, all of that. And if I can't really visualize the two people together, it's probably not going to be a good fit. But as I'm doing your profile and as you're speaking to me, I pull things out of you. Like, it's sharing about yourself for the entire hour. Like, why is a relationship important to you? What can you offer? What are your love languages? Things maybe that you haven't really thought about yourself as an individual who's single. You've been focused on work, you're focused on the kids. So it's like, when I come into your life, I'm pulling things out of you that you may have not discussed before. That's really good to, think about and be intentional.
I think a lot of people listening to need to understand that you just weren't good at setting your friends up, and which is why you fell into this business. You have a background in sociology and anthropology, so you have studied
Humans,
for a long time, humans and the relationships and why we act the way we act. What are some like really interesting things that you've discovered over the past few years matchmaking when it comes to people finding love? Like, is there stuff that scares them?
Yeah, so I think vulnerability is a very important thing for singles to work on. A lot of times if someone's been burned, it may be hard for them to open up again and really open their heart. What I've experienced with corporate women is sometimes it's hard for them to take off their work hat and be like feminine and like datey and sweet and kind of softer, I would say, and like be in the date, not be in like work mode. I'm a CFO, right? So really work and dating are very different things. Business is business, but dating is dating. And I see a lot of people that are really good in their careers sometimes suffer in relationships. So I try to bring that balance that out and show them other ways to be flirty, or, talk about other things other than work, and think about what are some new hobbies they can have, or, learn a new language or pick up tennis and really improve themselves first, like a lot of self-development, personal.
Right. So for you, it's not just about love. It's almost just about helping someone be a very well-rounded individual.
Because I'm a certified I also did, I'm a life skills coach that I studied from George Brown. So it's basic life skills like active listening, effective communication. And I was a really bad listener back in the day. I'm still working on it. But I found over time after I studied life skills, my listening improved. And I find essential life skills go hand in hand with, successful relationships. So if you master team building, reaching consensus, giving and receiving feedback, that's going to make your relationship go a longer way than just being like, oh, I'm a good listener, or yeah, I know that, or, you're too frustrated. You're giving negative feedback without asking, hey, can I give you some feedback around this? So there's ways that we can talk to our partner. There's ways that we can, talk in the early stages of dating that can make or break the connection. So those early stages are key, right? If you start showing like you're frustrated, upset, angry, that's kind of like the guy's going to run or the girl's going to run. So you really have to practice those life skills and date etiquette and share about yourself.
It's so funny that I'm sure a lot of people assume they don't need a matchmaker because of how many dating apps there are out there. But even just listening to you talk, I think all the apps would help your business, because go ahead, try the apps, and then come back and tell me how they work for you. And most of the time they don't. Like Jenna's in a new relationship, but they met in real life. Can you believe it? Does that even happen anymore?
You know what? I think COVID actually allowed people to make stronger emotional connections and kind of like get back into the old school of dating. So if your relationship, Jenna, is kind of like this year or fresh, I can see that totally happening because it's less about jumping in the sack or getting naked together. It's more about emotional connections, being best friends, really getting to know each other. And then, sex is coming later.
Well, I also think too that because we have to be very selective about the people we hang out with now and share spit with, you're not just going to go on a date to get laid necessarily, because that person might just be like, you need to earn it, because if I'm going to hook up with you, I can't hook up with another person for at least 2 weeks.
Totally. So people are more selective with who they're spending their time with.
Right.
Which is a good thing. Yeah.
I want to go back to chemistry for a second, because that's always been my big thing. And I'm afraid that maybe I write people off because I don't instantly feel those butterflies. And I remember I said to Jenna once, well, this guy's great on paper, but I don't feel the butterflies. And you said to me, do you remember what you said? She goes, I don't think they happen at this age.
Oh.
That's true. Yeah. And sometimes a second date could really be the first date. So if there's like, you're 70% into the person, give the date or the introduction at least 3 goes.
Okay. So chemistry is important, but maybe I'm expecting it a little too soon. So chemistry can develop.
But chemistry can also be one of your biggest enemies, can it not? If you have too much like sexual chemistry, but your personalities don't meld and you're toxic to each other, that's a very dangerous situation.
Right.
Exactly. So those are probably a lot of the hookups people have had in life, where it's like really hot sex and then they're left feeling empty, and the guy is an avoidant attachment style, and you're secure and you're like, what's going on? Why is he in and out? So also knowing your attachment styles is important too, and attracting the right attachment style to you, and knowing, if you're always going for the avoidant guys, break that behavior.
How do you know the avoiding guys?
Well, they're the ones that, just can't really commit to anything. Like they're there, it's good, it's hot and heavy, but they're, once you get close, they avoid you, and they'll pop back in maybe a couple weeks or a month later. Yeah. So you have to, if you're secure, you're probably not going to worry too much about it, but eventually it's going to irritate you because you feel like he's not showing up the way you would like and the way you deserve to be treated.
But sometimes it's really hard to figure out who those guys are. Like what are some, I know I can hear the bird.
Yeah, is that a toucan? What kind of bird is that?
Yeah, the birds are chirping. They're feeling
it. Just hold on, birds. I'm just in an interview right now. But it is very hard. And like I used to say too, like I'm right now I'm dating an amazingly nice guy. But before that, it was always douchebags. Like typical, if you were to look up in the dictionary, that's what they would look like and act like. But it's very hard sometimes to see those signs.
Exactly.
So, you have the men that come and use your service are looking to settle down and find love. They're in the right mind frame. So what's like some of the commonalities between these men that come and find you that women can see as signs that they are ready to settle down?
Well, first of all, they've joined a membership, so they've made the investment. So if someone's paying for a matchmaking service versus going online, that right there shows that they're serious. They're not screwing around. And also a lot of them are divorcees, single parents, men that have been married for maybe 15, 20 years, and now they're single and they like being in a relationship, but maybe they just fell out of love with their wife. And now they're alone and they're like, wow, what do I do now? Like, I don't really want to go online. I own my own business. I don't want people seeing my face plastered everywhere. So why don't I think about working with a boutique matchmaker that can kind of screen everybody, present opportunities to me, and just go from there. So it's like I'm managing your dating lifestyle.
Right. I wish they could walk around with a sign that like a light up sign, like open, close sign. Open, open for commitment, closed.
Say hi to me. I'm single. Please, like, say hello to me. I'm friendly. Yeah, I should make those t-shirts.
Exactly. I'm looking for a commitment, like or I'm not.
It's like those single parties, red light, green light. But I've seen this a lot from women, and I'm going to tread lightly because I don't want the girls to get mad at me. But I think that there's a lot of women that put up with too much. And so they won't kick these guys to the curb because whether they like the attention, and I mean, I'm included in this too.
Yeah.
But you know, the guy's like, you're
Yeah,
a
you're
great.
right. It's like instant gratification, and they become hooked on it, and it's almost like a vicious cycle because nothing's changing, but you're, 4 years later, you're still intimate with the same guy you've been hanging out with, and then you
Right.
wonder why you're single because when you give time to somebody that is unworthy of your time, you're not making space for the right people to show up. And like you said, like you made space for this nice guy to come into your life. If you were
Right.
still doing your old ways and maybe hanging out or hooking up, that guy may not have had the chance to come in.
How did you know her old ways, Shannon? You got her.
I'm
But I do think a lot of,
not guilty of it.
but I think especially a lot of women just look for someone to fill that role, whether that person's the right person or not.
Yeah.
You know, they just want to fill that void. You have these friends that can never be single ever. They go from one relationship literally to another and another. And I'm
Yes.
like, if you can't learn to like be happy alone, like how are you ever going to be happy with someone else?
Say it, RuPaul. Yeah.
I always say you have to date yourself first, and you have to enjoy your own company and not have like FOMO and like, oh my God, I need to go find somebody. No, just relax, self-assess, ask yourself, are you at your best? If there's some things you want to work on, tweak those things first, then think about dating. Dating's not going anywhere. And don't worry about your age. Women are very hung up on their age, and once they hit 35 plus, they start getting worried, like, am I ever going to have kids, or am I going to be alone, or what? I work with a lot of people 30s, 40s, 50s, and really don't let age define you. Like, just be who you are and like take care of yourself. That's all.
I'll try to remember that, Shannon. It's a hard one for me too.
Every time he goes under the Botox needle, he will remember that.
Yeah. But what I was trying to say is a lot of these women, or I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you do stand your ground and say, these guys that say, oh, you're a great catch, but I'm just not ready to commit, and they put up with it. But the women that say, okay, well, if you're not ready to commit, I'm not the girl for you, and kick them to the curb, how often do they come crawling back saying, okay, well, actually, maybe I can commit? Guys just want their cake and eat it too.
And men are natural hunters, right? They want to go out and hunt the prey, bring it back on their shoulder, and have it, pin it to the wall. They're not someone that wants to open the door and
to the wall, to the bed, the washing machine, you name it.
So it's like, I mean, even though times have changed, I even teach women to be a little more aggressive and like let a guy know when they are into them and communicate that and be open. But also, like, men still kind of want to hunt you. So don't just chase a guy because, he's hot and gorgeous and whatever, but create a friendship with him and a relationship first that can maybe develop into something more.
See, that's what I always did. And my friends told me, Jenna, you always make friends with them. That's why.
A lot of guys are like, you're just one of the guys. And I'm like, what do I need to do to not be one of the guys? Right? I'm like the cool chick.
Flash you? I'll show you I'm not one of the guys.
You don't need to talk like this to be like a little
right.
Like, that's not me. So sometimes, you get people put you in these compartments.
Yeah.
And that just means that that's not the right guy for you. You'll meet the right guy that'll appreciate you for, being like outgoing and having energy and being aggressive sometimes, they'll like all.
It's interesting because in the gay community, it sort of is the opposite. There's the expectation to have sex first, then develop a relationship. And in my old age, I'm starting to realize maybe I'm more like a straight girl where I need that connection.
No, it's just called you're getting old.
Stop.
And you're
we just talked about
you're
this.
looking for a deeper connection. I think
maybe
that
that's what it is.
Naturally as people get older.
As you mature, you become more aware of what you want, who you are, and you're more selective. So it's not about just like in our 20s and 30s, it's more like, you're just going with the flow, where as you get older, you're kind of more aware of who you are as an individual.
Yeah.
See, and you're nearing the end of that age bracket.
Oh, stop. No, I am not. I knew you were going to hit on that. Do you ever work with gay clients?
Yes.
Oh, we may need to talk.
I'm actually branching into that market. I signed my first gay man who's gorgeous and successful. And yeah, I put him on a date a few weeks ago and it was going well. Yeah. So
Oh, it's going well. No.
Damn it.
Working with everyone, and I want to represent everybody and also branch back into Ottawa. Right now I'm Toronto, GTA based, but I used to live in Ottawa, so I feel like I could tap into that community as well. And I know there's a lot of singles out there that are looking for help.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know why? Especially in Ottawa, and for those that are listening right now who aren't from here, that might find this boring. But the one thing because I came to Ottawa 7 years ago, the one thing I found odd about dating here is you have such a weird population. I live downtown, so I live amongst university students. And then you have these government employees who tend to be very like hard to break their exterior type of people. And it was just this weird eclectic mix that I never really found because I came from this city that was fairly open and a lot of people won't say it's friendly, but you know what I mean. And so Ottawa, I found everyone I talked to, because I found a lot of people have got married early here and like lived here and started their family. So a lot of the very few singles I met my own age, the one thing that they always said was that it was so difficult to date here. So difficult.
I think it's easy when you're in your 20s and you're working in restaurants to meet people.
And you're a student. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I went to Carleton, lived in res. I had like 2 jobs waitressing, and I had lots of boyfriends back then. But now I can see that, yeah, in your 30s, 40s, it might be more difficult because there's a lot of married people there and a lot of families.
Well, and it's hard to make friends in your 30s alone in a new city, and this is a very transient city, Ottawa. A lot of people going in and out. Before we let you go back to your lovely son and birds and dog and everything.
I got a couple juicy questions.
Because I wanted to ask
Do you know some of these?
The one that you mentioned in her bio.
Oh.
Where you said you discovered the key to men and what they
like.
like.
What do men? Yeah, that's on the list. Here's what it said. Shanny found it easy to pinpoint what men fall in love with.
You got to throw us a bone here.
So I feel like men fall in love with, girls that are sweet, girls that are down to earth, that don't take themselves too seriously. And as long as you're giving your man, men need 3 things: sex, loyalty, and support. So if you're a supportive woman, as a friend even, so if you like a guy, don't just be all about yourself, but ask him, hey, how did that meeting go? Or, how is it going looking at that new condo that you wanted to buy? So take an interest in his life, show support, be his cheerleader. So that's showing support. Loyalty, obviously, don't cheat on the person, be, dedicated to him, and make time for intimacy, I think, and have fun together.
Yeah.
As women, we take ourselves so seriously. We always want to look perfect. It's not about putting on a pound of makeup. It's being comfortable in your own skin when you're in sweats, when you're hanging out on the couch. And then you can dress up and go for nice dinners. I mean, it's nice seeing both sides to yourself. Sorry, there's people in the pool.
Okay, yeah. I want to join you. We want to jump through the screen. It's like a party in Costa Rica. Would you say, Shannon, that cheating is still the #1 reason that relationships don't work out?
Infidelity, yes. But also I think the lack of communication, and also when you become roommates. So if you're with a spouse, you start becoming roommates and the sex stops, that's a big sign to, get that relationship back and get some counseling and think about why you liked each other in the first place. So I think a lot of stories I hear from singles that use my services is, I love my wife, but we just became roommates. The sex stopped, and it's not always infidelity. It can be a communication breakdown. It can be personal growth. Maybe one person's really expanding in the business. Maybe the other person's just stagnant and feeling lazy and not good enough. So there's going to be a bit of a breakdown.
I always feel like cheating is the hangover of something that was already wrong.
Wow, that's a good quote.
Exactly.
Right. Something was already wrong that led to the cheating, because if there wasn't anything wrong, you wouldn't have cheated.
If the needs are being met sexually, emotionally, mentally, people aren't going to cheat unless they're like, what is it called? Like addicted to sex. Some people,
Right.
If their wife is out of town for the weekend, they may go have sex with somebody because they're a sex addict.
Yeah.
But maybe you're not cheating in a way they're still cheating, but it's not an emotional cheat. It's like a physical, quick in and out, which is still brutal. Also with infidelity, you have to ask yourself, can you, forgive your partner, and can you work through the relationship and let it go? Or, just walk away and say, I'm not dealing with this. So it's really, it's a tough situation.
How do you feel of being a modern day matchmaker with the idea that relationships should be happily ever after or forever? Can you have a successful relationship that ends, but you don't look at it as a failure?
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like people come into your life. I love this saying, for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And even when you're going through a breakup, there's that great poem. You can Google it. I didn't write it, but it's like people will come into your life for a season to bring you something, or a lifetime. And they're there for you to help you through a situation, or, maybe what you're going through, or they showed you how it felt to be loved, but maybe you didn't love them in the way they loved you. So it's all a lesson. It's all an experience. Nothing is ever like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or that was a waste of time. You probably had beautiful children. You had a great home. And if it didn't work out, then that's okay. Don't look at divorce as a failure. Look at it as, hey, this is, I always tell women, this is your second shot in life. Like, this is your next stage of life. It's exciting. You're 45. You're feeling good. You have a great job. Your kids are growing. You can start dating again. You have more free time. So think about where you are now and what your life is now. Don't be like, I'm a single mom who's divorced. Don't label yourself that way. Label yourself as, I'm a beautiful single woman, and this is what I can offer somebody. I'm this, and that. And I'm looking for someone who also reflects that. He's this, he's that. Not a huge list, but maybe like 5 must-haves.
And that's why it doesn't hurt to hire someone just like you, so that you can coach them through the experience and help them find happiness.
One last question, because I can't go without asking something shady. Have you ever had to turn a client down and be like, no, girl, you're just not lovable. It ain't gonna work?
Yeah, sometimes, like, if I felt they were very jaded or had a lot of like anger and aggression, I didn't want to represent a person like that. So I turned into more coaching, and I would say, like, I don't really have anyone in my database that's suitable, because again, I don't want to work with somebody that I feel like I can't match in that moment, right? We're staying really present. We're not going backwards. So,
and I think that's the important thing, is in that moment, it's probably those people have something to work on prior to opening themselves up to finding love.
yes. And they're just looking, like, there's some guys that will contact me that are still living in the matrimonial home. And I'm like, okay, you haven't moved out yet. Like, that, you have to still
Throw a pair.
called like unfinished business. Like, take care of that first, and then get your own place, and then I can help you with matchmaking. Right. Nobody's gonna want to visit your matrimonial home where your ex-wife's dress is still hanging in the closet.
Especially if it's the wedding dress.
Actually happened to me. True story. I dated a guy, and I went to his house, and his ex's shoes were still in the matrimonial home. And I was like, this is too much for me. She had like personal items in the bathroom, but he was like fully separated. But see, this is why it's always good to get inside the person's home too, and do like see how the person lives. It's almost like research, right? So
yeah.
I call it.
That's why I'm afraid to have people in my house, because how do you describe my apartment?
I don't even know.
Decorated
the
like
gay circus.
Yeah, Wendy Williams dressing room.
Yeah, Wendy Williams dressing room.
Yeah. But yeah, it is great. I'm a fun person, Shannon. Find a guy for me.
Well, so weird. Just as we were talking, one of my gay clients just emailed me.
Oh, there we
Maybe
go.
It's a sign. Cupid's working behind the scenes.
That's what we call law of attraction in full force.
You never know.
It's a sign.
Send me his picture. But that's why it's great you have so many facets to your business. So if someone's not a candidate for the matchmaking, maybe they're a candidate for your life coaching. Or they could even hire you to go out for a night. You're a personal wing woman, which is awesome.
Right.
Yeah, I actually, a journalist from the Globe and Mail hired me, and I took her out, and she did a story on it. So before COVID, obviously I would, meet with singles, help and take them out and help them meet other singles organically, and, critique how they would express themselves, how they would, speak to somebody, like date conversation, all of those things. So it's a full assessment, because I like to give people like practical advice that they can actually put to use and like do the work, not just like read about it, talk about it, and then nothing happens.
It's almost like a lifestyle change a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shannon Tebb, you know what you're talking about. What is your website? I should have written it down, but you know, I'm unprofessional.
That's okay. It's shannyandthecity.com. Yeah. I'm on Instagram. I don't really tweet too much, but I'm on LinkedIn. And we have a singles network. We have a matchmaking community. We have, dating coaching, life coaching. I also help people with their online dating profiles. So if you are struggling online and you're not getting results, I've helped revamp profiles for people as well. So whatever
Yeah, Bob, take the picture down of you holding a fish. We're over it.
and like, no, like the worst of the pictures super close where you can't even see what the person
Right.
really looks like.
Poor straight guys. They need all the help they can get. They do.
Thank you so much. We hope you enjoy your beautiful day.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed speaking with you guys. Very
Shannon
fun.
Tebb,
So
cheers.
cheers to finding love.
Oh, cheers.